Dear students, I welcome you to this lecture. It is about the transfer of learning. The objectives before us are transfer of learning, understanding different types of transfer and factors that influence transfer. The process of carrying over habits of thinking, knowledge, skills and attitudes from one learning situation to another is called the transfer of learning or training. Many of the things we do or perform in our day-to-day life are often influenced by our previous experiences of learning or training. The learning of addition and subtraction helps a child in learning multiplication and division. Learning of mathematics helps us in solving numerical problems in physics. Learning to drive a car helps a person later to learn more quickly to drive a truck. In this way, learning or training in one situation influences our learning or performance in some other situation. This influence is usually referred to the carrying over of learning from one task to another. Not only the learning of the tricks of a trade or the knowledge and skill acquired in a particular subject is transferred to other situations, but also the habits, interests and attitudes get transferred and try to influence the activities of the individual in future. The effects of learning or training are cumulative in time. When an organism learns a list of words or undergoes conditioning, it is more or less permanently modified by his experience. When this organism faces new tasks and new problems, its behavior may be seriously affected by the results of fast learning and conditioning. It is only through such cumulative effects of learning that steady intellectual development and growth, progressive refinement of skills and creative thinking are made possible. Sometimes it is true that past experience hinders rather than facilitates the acquisition of new skills. Sometimes learning in one context undermines a related performance in another context. When past learning affects new learning, it is technically referred to as transfer of training or learning. Transfer of learning is one of the most pervasive characteristic of behavior. This is so because it is only through transfer of learning that continuity and lawful development of habits of ever-growing complexity is guaranteed. Transfer of learning also plays an important role as far as the emergence of consistent personality traits and the organization and integration of knowledge is concerned. Both of these depend upon transfer. Now, let us see what are the kinds of transfer. Transfer of learning affects learning of a new task in three ways. First, it is the positive transfer. Positive transfer occurs when learning in one activity facilitates learning in a new or similar task. Terming it differently, positive transfer occurs when skills previously learned help or facilitate the learning of a new skill. Placed in a new learning situation, the learner performs better than he would without benefit of fast training. A student's learning of arithmetic may be positively transferred when he takes up accounting at a later time. Or to explain this type of transfer, we will use a simple example from our life, assuming that we know how to ride a two-wheeler, say a motor bicycle. All of us must first learn to ride a bicycle and thereafter only can we ride a two-wheeler. Why is it so? The reason is plain and simple. Our initial learning of how to balance on two wheels is done with practice, creating errors, falling down on a bicycle, and with practice our performance gets better, and finally we have mastered the skill of balancing. Now, after having mastered this skill on a bicycle, when we start learning to ride a two-wheeler, the effect of our previous learning, that is balancing on two wheels, facilitates our learning. Thus, a positive transfer effect of previous learning can be vividly seen. This type of transfer can be seen in various types of learning. Since transfer from one task to another depends mainly on the stimulus and response elements in both the earlier task and the new one, and thus when the response is expected from the two tasks or learning situations are similar, positive transfer takes place. With the increase of similarity between the two responses, the effects of positive transfer also become stronger. Maximum transfer occurs when both the previous and the present responses are similar or identical. For example, in learning mathematical tables, we begin to learn them. We start with the tables of 2 and learn that 2 into 9 is equal to 18. And when we move ahead, we learn the tables of 9. We see that 9 into 2 is also equal to 18. Here, both the responses being identical, maximum positive transfer takes place. Negative transfer. Negative transfer occurs when previous skill learning interferes with the learning of a new skill. Terming it differently, negative transfer is said to take place when learning in one area interferes with or blocks learning in another area. It has been experimentally shown that past experiences sometimes slow down the acquisition of a new skill or the solution of a problem. Placed in this new situation, the learner performs poorly than he would without previous learning. The effects of negative transfer in the pronunciation of many English language words has led to great jokes being created about them. For example, if you try to pronounce but and put in the same manner, you will experience the negative transfer. Thus, learning English as a second language for Indians becomes quite difficult because of such types of negative transfers. Transfers occur in a variety of situations. As a consequence of learning to spell the word house, a child may be able to apply the appropriate phonetic rule and spell the word mouse correctly. At the same time, a child's experience in learning the plural of house may be detrimental to his learning the plural of mouse. Now, zero transfer. This type of transfer occurs when the learning of a new task is neither aided nor hindered by past learning. Terming it differently, transfer is said to be zero when learning or training in one situation does not have any significant influence over the learning or training in another situation. Such a situation may arise when the learning activities and subject areas have nothing in common between them. In such cases, it is quite natural that possession of knowledge and skill related to one area may have no or quite minimal effect on the acquisition of knowledge and skill related to another area. For example, learning history or a language may make a contribution to an understanding of one's own culture, but it has negligible effect on learning mathematics. Similarly, improving one's skill in playing football will have no effect on the improvement of his skill in singing. Let us understand the different factors affecting transfer. Transfer of learning from one task to another depends on certain factors. These factors are: number 1, learner's intelligence. The ability to derive benefits from transfer of learning depends on the learner's general intelligence. It means degree of transfer is closely related to the learner's intelligence. Those students who have superior intelligence are better in transfer of learning than those who are of average or below the average level of intelligence. Thus, transfer depends upon one's ability to generalize and the ability to perceive relationships between two situations. A dull child is unable to see relationships between two situations, since he or she fails to grasp the meaning of the material taught. The dull child learns by rote and therefore cannot apply it to new situations. The higher the IQ, the more capable one is of positive transfer. Charles Spearman, the author of two-factor theory of intelligence, speaks of transfer involving the general or G factor of intelligence, the ability to perceive relations, reorganize experiences and adapt one's responses to new situations are all functions of the G factor. Attitude and ideals. Formation of attitudes and ideals help one to transfer the knowledge and the skill from one situation to another. If attitude of the student with regard to a subject that he or she wants to transfer is proper, then his attitude or her attitude is helpful in the positive transfer. Common attitudes, ideals and ego involvement constituted factors of transfer according to Bagley, particularly for transfer of traits like honesty, neatness, tidiness or etc. Common attitude to the two fields are necessary. Otherwise, one may be honest at home and dishonest at school. Bagley has stressed that such qualities should be taught and accepted in ideals so that the ego of the person would be involved. This would ensure that the qualities are transferred to all fields of activity of the individual. Meaningfulness of material. Transfer relies heavily on meaningfulness of material. When teachers teach everything and do not encourage pupils to see relationships or to generalize, pupils fail to apply their learned knowledge to the new situations and thus fail to transfer what they have learned. Transfer is much dependent on understanding. Therefore, the more the learning is meaningful and understandable, the more it is possible that it may be transferred. School curriculum has to be organized in such a manner that leads to maximum transfer. Every subject of the curriculum has transfer value. Subjects having a social utility value like social studies, applied arts, socially useful productive work may be included for the benefit of the child. These subjects help in transfer of training. The teacher should take some important steps to achieve maximum transfer, just like number 1, make use of audio visual aids for concept clearance. Number 2, discussion should be organized around topics of social importance. Number 3, excursions may be organized to impart a first-hand knowledge of the subject discussed in the class. Number 4, the teacher must help the students to find out similarities between school learning and life experiences. Curriculum may be enriched generously with opportunities for applications of what has been learner. This requires planning and correlation among areas of the curriculum. For example, similar principles of science are applicable in music, shop, home economics, and countless other areas. Now, generalization. The more it is possible to find out general rules on the basis of experiences, the more it is possible to transfer the knowledge of one subject to the learning of the other subject. Judd, the author of the theory of generalization, defined it as a kind of summary of many experiences. It makes possible the proper interrelating and interpreting of a whole body of varied experiences. The theory of generalization developed by Judd was of the opinion that transfer of learning can be facilitated by teaching students general principles rather than specific solutions. His theory of generalization insists on a systematic organization and generalization of experiences in order to achieve the maximum transfer of learning. As a result of certain experiences, the individual reaches some conclusion or generalization. This conclusion or generalization can be applied by him to oncoming new situations. Generalization is a principal law, a rule which can be easily transferred to other situations. In classroom learning, for instance, the principle of division illustrated in the context of short division should transfer to the learning of long division. Proper teaching methodology. Those teachers who believe in teacher-centered method of teaching make use of any method of teaching which adversely affects the transfer of learning. Such wrong methods deprive the children of the opportunity to seek relationships and applications. It may be stated that all methods of teaching have their limitations. Hence, the teacher has to carefully choose his methods of teaching. Some principles may aid his selection of methodology. Number 1, the teacher can fix goals beforehand and choose methods accordingly. Every topic of the curriculum in each subject has a definite goal. The teacher should fix up the goal for each topic beforehand and choose proper methods to achieve it. This choice of the proper method would enable the child to acquire certain attitudes and behavior patterns. It is these attitudes and behavior patterns which are transferred from one situation to the other. Number 2, keep in view individual differences. Every child learns according to his mental growth. Hence, there are individual differences in learning. The teacher should use those methods which provide for individual development of the child. He may modify the method for providing this opportunity. The teacher has to individualize, personalize, and psychologize instruction. Here is another one. Follow the principle of correlation. The teacher, while teaching a particular subject, should explain the related education materials of other subjects. This would enable the child to understand identical components between different subjects and transfer of knowledge will take place. John Dewey, the American author and writer, has educated the project and problem solving method of teaching. The overall implication is that for effective transfer to take place, learning should be organized around the kinds of authentic problems and projects that are more often encountered in non-school settings. The teacher will have to choose methods which lead to mental development. The teacher should choose those methods of teaching which develop the spirit of inquiry and investigation in the child. This would enable the child to develop a desire to know and love for wisdom. This may also satisfy his hunger for the soul. Experiential learning takes place when the focus is on meaning-making aspects of learning from direct experience. Vygotsky's theory promotes learning contexts in which students play active role in learning. In fact, learning is formed and reformed through experience. This experience-centered climate would enable the child to achieve a great deal in life, and this achievement will be possible due to transfer of training. Scope for practical application. Knowledge becomes power only when it is applied in a practical situation. The teacher should provide opportunities to the child for the practical application of the knowledge acquired. This is especially applicable in the fields of different sciences and humanities. Now, transposability of insight. The Gestalt psychologists view transfer as the result of transposability of insight. Transposition theories have been called as patterns of experience. This theory for the first time was developed by Max Wertheimer. He says, a gestalt is a whole, the behavior of which is not determined by that of its individual elements, but the part processes are themselves determined by the intrinsic nature of the whole. Gestalt psychologists brought into focus the role of insight in the mechanism of transfer of learning. They asserted that in transfer, the identical elements and generalization don't get transferred automatically unless one has developed proper insight of using and employing them and is desirous to transfer it at the right time. The followers of the Gestaltists believe that insight, understanding, or generalization arises from the individual's reconstruction or reorganization of experiences. Now, motivation and transfer. Transfer does not take place automatically. The intent to learn and a will to achieve help us a great deal in transfer. Naturally, it involves a deliberate effort on the part of the teacher to plan learning experiences that will encourage learners to look for and exploit situations that lead to transfer. More of illustrations can be of great help in this regard. In other words, learning has to be deliberate, meaningful and goal-directed and not casual, blind and aimless. Teaching for transfer of learning is most effective if it is the teacher's conscious goal and procedure. When not teaching for transfer, the teacher is likely to lapse into teaching specifics with limited applications and to fail to arouse the imagination of pupils for the possibilities of wider applicability of what they are learning. Now, identical elements. Each activity is composed of many precise moments and connections. Transfer occurs to the extent that two activities share certain elements. The amount of transfer is proportional to the number of identical elements or components in the two learning situations. The amount of transfer depends on the degree to which they both involve responses using the same concepts, operations and symbols. For example, study of biology helps one in the study of medicine and study of mathematics help us in the study of engineering. The notion is that the shared elements will be detected more by the learner and this will lead to more rapid acquisition of the transfer of tasks. This idea has been responsible for curriculum construction in schools to link related disciplines together. Thorndike and Woodworth suggested that transfer from one task to another would only occur when both tasks share identical elements. Further, they proposed that The greater the number of shared elements, the greater the amount of transfer. When Thorndike and Woodworth talked about the elements, they were talking about shared features of the stimulus environment of the two tasks. Thus, two tasks which share same set of stimulus features are possible candidates for learning transfer. Students, to conclude, learning or performing a new task is influenced by some previous learning or training. Human beings and animals cannot learn without being affected by their past experience. All new learning involves transfer to some extent. Learning can be transferred from one problem to another, from one class to another, between home and school, and between school and the workplaces. In this way, learning or training in one situation influences our learning or performance in some other situation. Not only learning of knowledge and skill acquired in a particular subject is transferred to other situation, but also the habits, interests and attitudes get transferred and influence our activities in future. The ultimate goal of schooling is to help students transfer what they have learned in school to the everyday settings of home, community and workplaces. Transfer in its most powerful general form is the ability to apply a wide range of learning strategies to new learning situations. Transfer is the ability to extend what one has learned in one context to new and multiple contexts. Students, it was all for today, hoping that you might have understood the content. Thank you.